Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of Arab Affairs, where we discuss the most salient events in the Arab world. We start with Foreign Minister Badr Abdel-Ati, who stressed that Egypt will continue in its efforts in cooperation with the US and Qatar to reach ceasefire and guaranteeing the secure access of humanitarian aid into the former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. During the meeting, Abdel-Ati asserted Egypt's commitment to the basic principles of UN Charter and continuous work to maintain the stability of the UN system, stressing the importance of cooperation as an active means to boost stability and development on the regional and international levels. Hamas said it was still reviewing a U.S. proposal for a temporary ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, where 27 people were killed in new Israeli occupation airstrike. Meanwhile, the bodies of 12 people, including 3 women, were brought to Shifa Hospital from the nearby Jabalia refugee camp. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society said the bodies of 2 others were brought to a hospital in Gaza City. Since the war began, more than 54,000 of Gaza residents, mostly women and children, have been killed. More details to follow. Hamas said it was still reviewing a U.S. proposal for a temporary ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, where 27 people were killed in new Israeli occupation airstrikes. U.S. negotiators have not publicized the terms of the proposal, but a Hamas official and an Egyptian official said that it called for a 60-day pause in fighting, guarantees of serious negotiations leading to a long-term truce, and assurances that Israel will not resume hostilities after the release of hostages as it did in March. While changes may have been made to the proposal, the version confirmed earlier called for Israeli forces to pull back to the position they held before it ended the last ceasefire. Hamas would release 10 living hostages and a number of bodies during the 60-day pause in exchange for more than 1,100 Palestinians imprisoned by Israel, including 100 serving long sentences after being convicted of deadly attacks. Each day, hundreds of trucks carrying food and humanitarian aid would be allowed to enter Gaza, where a nearly 3-month Israeli blockade, slightly eased in recent days, has pushed the population to the brink of famine. The uncertainty over the new proposal came as hospital officials said that 27 people had been killed in separate airstrikes. A strike that hit a tent in the southern city of Khan Yunis killed 13, including 8 children. Meanwhile, the bodies of 12 people, including 3 women, were brought to Shifa Hospital from the nearby Jabalia refugee camp. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society said the bodies of 2 others were brought to a hospital in Gaza City. Hospital officials also said at least 72 have been killed in Gaza during the previous day. That figure does not include some hospitals in the north, which are largely cut off due to the fighting. Since the war began, more than 54,000 Gaza residents, mostly women and children, have been killed. Welcome back, dear viewers. You are still following the developments in the Gaza Strip, where the United Nations said the situation in Gaza is the worst since the war began between Israel and Hamas 19 months ago, despite the resumption of limited aid deliveries in the Palestinian enclave, where famine looms. Under growing global pressure, Israel ended an 11-week-long blockade on Gaza 12 days ago, allowing limited UN-led operations to resume. We have the details. The United Nations said that the situation in Gaza is the worst since the war between Israel and Hamas began 19 months ago, despite a resumption of limited aid deliveries in the Palestinian enclave where famine looms. Under growing global pressure, Israel ended an 11-week-long blockade on Gaza 12 days ago, allowing limited UN-led operations to resume. Then on Monday, a controversial new avenue for aid distribution was also launched, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, backed by the United States and Israel. The UN and international aid groups have refused to work with the GHF because they say it's not neutral and has a distribution model that forces a displacement of Palestinians. Israel ultimately wants the UN to work through the GHF, which is using private US security and logistics companies to transport aid into Gaza for distribution by civilian teams at so-called secure distribution sites. GHF said on Friday that it has so far managed to distribute more than 2.1 million meals. Israel has long accused Hamas of stealing aid, which the group denies. The UN says that in the past 12 days it has only managed to transport some 200 truckloads of aid into Gaza, hindered by insecurity and Israeli access restrictions. It was not immediately clear how much of that aid reached those in need. It said some trucks and a World Food Programme warehouse have also been looted by desperate, hungry people. UN officials have also criticized Israeli limitations on what kind of aid they can provide.